Welcome back to the Rundown Lab, where we break down and fact-check the biggest health podcasts. We know your time is valuable, but when you can, we always recommend catching the full episode. Links are in the description. Here's something that might change your morning routine. What if I told you that brushing your teeth right after breakfast could actually be damaging them? It sounds counterintuitive, but there's real science behind it. In a recent episode, Paul Saladino discussed common mistakes people make when brushing their teeth, covering everything from optimal timing to the importance of nighttime brushing. Let's break down what the evidence actually says. There's quite a bit this episode gets right, and it's worth acknowledging. The claim that your mouth is full of bacteria when you wake up, that's well-established oral microbiology. During sleep, your salivary flow drops by up to 90%, which reduces your mouth's natural cleansing mechanism. This allows bacterial populations to grow overnight, which is exactly why you experience morning breath. The episode also accurately explains that after you eat, there's more acid in your mouth and your enamel becomes softer. This is textbook dental science. There's something called the Stefan curve that demonstrates how oral pH drops rapidly after eating, especially after carbohydrates. When pH falls below about 5.5, enamel demineralization begins, and this temporary softening makes your teeth more vulnerable to mechanical damage. Perhaps most importantly, the claim that nighttime brushing is the most critical time to brush is strongly supported by professional consensus. When you sleep, saliva production drops to near zero in some people. Since saliva buffers acids, washes away food particles, and provides minerals for remineralization, losing that protection overnight means any bacteria and plaque left on your teeth have prolonged, uninterrupted contact with your enamel. Now, here's where things get a bit more complicated. The recommendation to brush before breakfast rather than after is supported by dental professionals and has good scientific rationale. However, it's worth noting that the evidence consists more of expert consensus and mechanistic reasoning than large randomized trials directly comparing outcomes. This advice is strongest when your breakfast includes acidic foods like citrus or juice. For non-acidic breakfasts, the timing may matter less. Similarly, waiting 30 to 60 minutes after eating before brushing is commonly recommended. But that specific window is somewhat arbitrary, based on pH recovery curves and enamel rehardening studies. You can actually speed up the process by rinsing with water or chewing sugar-free gum. The episode describes bacteria exploding in your mouth when you eat and damaging your enamel. The core mechanism here is partially correct, but the causation is oversimplified. When you eat carbohydrates, oral bacteria don't dramatically increase in number during the meal. Rather, their metabolic activity increases, and they produce acids as they process the food. It's those acids that damage enamel through demineralization, not a bacterial population explosion. The claim about always flossing before brushing does have scientific support. A 2018 study in the Journal of Periodontology found that flossing first resulted in greater fluoride retention and plaque reduction. However, the American Dental Association notes that the order matters less than actually doing both consistently. Now, there's one claim that needs more careful examination. The episode states that fluoride has consistently been shown in studies with children to lower IQ. This references real research, but significantly overstates what the evidence actually shows. A 2012 meta-analysis did find associations between high fluoride exposure and lower IQ in children, but here's the critical context. Most of those studies were from regions in China with fluoride levels of 2 to 10 or more milligrams per liter. That's far exceeding the 0.7 milligrams per liter used in U.S. water fluoridation, sometimes by a factor of 10 or more. Studies at typical fluoridation levels show inconsistent results, and confounding factors like arsenic co-exposure and socioeconomic differences complicate interpretation. The word consistently overstates the evidence quality. A more accurate statement would be that some studies, primarily from regions with naturally high fluoride levels, have found associations with lower IQ, but evidence at typical water fluoridation levels remains unclear and methodologically contested. So here's the bottom line. This episode provides generally sound dental hygiene advice that aligns with professional recommendations. The core points about brushing timing, enamel softening from acids, and the importance of nighttime brushing are well supported. However, the fluoride and IQ claim requires significant qualification that wasn't provided. If you take away practical lessons from this episode, focus on brushing before bed as your non-negotiable. Consider brushing before breakfast, especially if you eat acidic foods, and wait at least 30 minutes after eating before brushing. Those are solid, evidence-based practices that can genuinely help protect your teeth.